everybody else, what's going on? Clark, can you tell me? I knew today was going to be a very interesting day. Oh, so Clark says it's a glitch on their end. It's fixed, and away we go. Moose, how are you doing through that opening preamble? Can you count to 10 and tell me what's going on in your life today?
Yeah, I can. I'll do my best, and I hope it's okay. You're coming through really good today.
Okay.
And I'm wondering, in Matthew Barnaby's book, have you got to parts yet that the Sabres don't like?
No, I haven't. And you guys tell me, is it good now, Clark? Are you happy with everything? With the connection? Okay, we're good. All right, we're rolling. And we're going to get into the quick six horn in a second. So hang on, Jordan. But no, here's how this is a handbook for life for Matthew Barnaby. If you look, it says, forward by Mark Messier and Eric Lindros. And they talk about what a great guy Barney is and how he's symbolic of don't give up on your dreams. Lindros talks about Barney's character, and he's awesome in all those regards. But how about this? The guy fought his way through midget hockey and into junior, and for 3 straight years, he fought almost every game and never won one fight. But he never stopped. He just kept fighting. He literally fought his way into the National Hockey League. He got the crap kicked out of him every game. Just kept going. And to be honest, it reminds me a little bit of this, and we will get into the quick six here right away, but yes, I was on NHL radio this morning, and I realized it's not the first time. You remember when they called when the Blues won the Stanley Cup. I was in Saskatchewan, and Scott Laughlin, the host, called and said, hey, when's the last time the Stanley Cup was in Saskatchewan? I'm like, last summer. You remember that interview? It comes every summer.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So he called me today to talk about the Florida Panthers, how Paul Maurice is going over here in South Florida, and Matthew Tkachuk, and the Chuckies returned to Alberta, and then Connor Bedard. And over a year ago, when I first came down here, this was my vision. This was my dream. I want to be in South Florida. I want to be the NHL guy on NHL radio. I'm going to the games. They gave me a pass. Why aren't they calling? I know all these guys on the networks. I want to be the guy. It took over a year for that dream to manifest itself with today's appearance on NHL radio. Then my phone's been blowing up all morning with hockey people that were listening because they have a huge audience. So you can't manifest these things overnight is what I'm telling everybody. Same thing as Barney making it to the NHL. What we're doing here on the RP show on Game Plus TV and WQEE, it's a thing. You have to have a vision, you have to stick to it, and you have to work your sack off every day and have a little gumption and help from great people like yourself and our whole crew at IKS. But there's a big day today going on NHL radio, and this is what we talked about. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please? Director Gordon.
How about that?
And we might have to roll this over and bring you back after Ryan Leslie Moose, because I'm not sure we'll have time. Evan Bouchard scored the tying goal with 5 seconds remaining in the third period, and Leon Draisaitl got the winner 22 seconds into overtime as the Edmonton Oilers beat the Florida Panthers 4-3. That 27-second gap marked the shortest time between a team scoring a regulation goal and an OT goal in NHL history. History made last night at the Florida Panthers' expense. Connor McDavid finished with a goal and 2 assists. Matthew Tkachuk had a goal and a helper. Now just hang on. Steven Stamkos scored his second goal of the game in overtime to give the Tampa Bay Lightning a 6-5 win over the Buffalo Sabres. And Jack Hughes and Michael McLeod scored in the second period. Vitek Vanacek stopped 35 shots, and the New Jersey Devils rallied from an early 2-goal deficit to beat the New York Rangers 5-3. That's just some of what happened on a very busy night. I know you're at the Raptors game, and that's coming up in my quick six. But what's the talk in Canada today, the motherland, the Great White North, from last night's NHL happenings? Moose, tell me.
A lot of people talking about the Leafs and Red Wings out here, obviously. The 4-2 win. They're happy about that. But it's creeping in all this talk about the Oilers. And we're all checking the scores. 15 seconds left, they were up. And obviously with 5 seconds left, they scored. And you just kind of knew they were going to win that game in overtime. So great comeback. Maybe that's what they needed to turn the season around.
Kinsman Telemiracle, by the way, the 50-50 raffle is live now. Telemiracle5050.com. You can purchase your tickets up until Friday, December the 16th. That's when we're going to make the draw. It's a great Saskatchewan tradition. We're raising money for the Kinsman Foundation. You have to be 19 years of age or older, and you have to be physically in the province of Saskatchewan to do it. So for all the Sasky expatriates, get your family to buy tickets for you with their credit card, e-transfer them the money, and let's push this thing well above $1 million for the first time since we've been running it for 3 straight years. It's telemiracle5050.com. Now to tonight, Matthew Tkachuk will make his return to the Scotiabank Saddledome when the Florida Panthers take on the Flames. Tkachuk, of course, opted against re-signing a long-term deal with the Flames in the offseason and was later traded to the Panthers. And in other games tonight, the Montreal Canadiens host the San Jose Sharks, the Jets welcome the Colorado Avalanche, and the Vancouver Canucks entertain the Washington Capitals. I want to hear from the people of Calgary. Right in now. I think we've got our connection issues fixed. And Ryan O'Radio checking in from Atlanta. Time for another great RP show. We're trying, Ryan. We're trying. This is what I related on NHL radio when you were around Calgary this summer, Darren. I think I had it right. Johnny Gaudreau leaving the Flames was ripping the heart out of the franchise. Ripping the heart out. And then it was like a day or two later that Matthew Tkachuk informed the team that they weren't in his long-term plans, so you might as well move me. So then he got traded to Florida. And there was about a week of the Flames being stomped on by their own fans and the media, by the way, which I haven't forgotten what the media said about the Flames. And if I haven't forgotten, darn sure the Flames haven't forgotten what some of the media was saying, referring to them as a punchline. And Calgary's not a place you want to play. Just ask Tkachuk and Gaudreau. So anyways, Tkachuk was beloved there. I get that sense in the dressing room and in the city right up until the end, right up until he'd informed the team he wanted out. So I don't think he'll be booed tonight. When Gaudreau comes back in January with Columbus, will be a complete other story. But what do you think will happen tonight?
I don't think he'll get booed, but I don't know. I don't know. You know, I'll be watching and I'll be very curious. But at the end of the day, I don't think he'll get booed. I think there'll be a video tribute, and I think they'll give him an ovation. That's going to be my prediction. He'll get an ovation when he steps on the ice probably for warm-up, and then when they play the video tribute later in probably the first period.
I hope that's what happens. By the way, hang on. Well, this isn't bad. Kevin, the medium, writes in. He says, it was a great interview. Thank you, Kevin, the one on NHL radio. James in Manitoba says, I've seen a few Panthers fans that are not happy with Paul. Yeah, cool, but you have to understand, the second you start listening to the fans, you'll be sitting with them. No offense to the fans. It's the way it is. You can't listen to them. Just like people trying to tell us what to do with our show, which incidentally, they don't normally tell us what to do because it's been proven we know what we're doing. John in Winnipeg says, woohoo! Sounded great on XM NHL radio today, Rod. Thank you, Johnny boy. I'll just walk it back for a second. It's like the Flames fans and Calgarians. They're like, why wouldn't anybody want to live in Calgary and play for the Flames? It's like Rider fans. Why wouldn't everybody want to come play for the Rough Riders? And you pointed out it's like Leaf fans. I watched that clip 20 times. Torontonians and Leaf fans. Why wouldn't everybody want to come play in Toronto? Darren, after time and time and time again of being proved otherwise, they still don't get it. You know, will they ever get it? Yeah. Not everybody wants to play for your franchise. What do you think? It's just the way people are.
Yes, of course it is. It's the way people are. Unless your franchise is so terrible and you know, losing for so long. Like, I think Arizona Coyotes fans sit there and think, okay, we understand why people don't want to come and play here. They get it. But for everybody else, I don't think they're ever going to get it.
That is a fact. By the way, a word from our sponsor, Edo Japan. Delicious Japanese-inspired meals and snacks made to order with high-quality ingredients. We got some great comments coming in from the viewers. I'll try and disperse those as we move along. We are starting our jersey bracket today. This dawned on me over the weekend. I'm tired of hearing this jersey sucks, this jersey's great. Let's settle it once and for all with a Democratic vote. So we're going to start a bracket. It should run us right through the winter. A very easy poll question every day for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center. There you go. There's a look at it. It's bracket time with the RP show. Every day we're going to put two jerseys up against each other. Darren's going to put a bracket together because he's good with the social media kind of stuff of the spreadsheets. And today, our very first battle is this. Round one, the Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Florida Panthers. You can vote now on Twitter, our Instagram story, and YouTube. And right now, this is turning into a pummeling. Even though Tampa Bay has beaten Florida in each of the last 2 playoff seasons, this ain't even close, at least from what I saw on Instagram and Twitter. Darren, Florida's running away with it. Now on YouTube, like over 60% were voting for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Kevin the Medium says, we all know it's the Canucks. Well, you can say that, but that's why we have a vote. And at the end of the day, I'm the LA Kings are what I'm saying. You're saying the Vancouver Canucks. You might be right, but let's settle this once and for all with the vote. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. In the end, do you think Vancouver's going to win it?
I don't know if they will. I think, the San Jose Sharks are a front runner. I remember and I really love the Pittsburgh Penguins one as well. Very classic. I think Montreal fans. I think, to be honest, because we're, so big in the prairies and in Western Canada, I bet you just based on that, it won't be the best jersey. It'll be one of like Winnipeg, Edmonton, or Calgary that will win just because they'll bring the most fans to the vote. It was like old votes in the CFL. The Riders would win just because they had more fans voting. So that'll be curious to see.
Yeah, all we can do is make it available, right? And we'll see who wins this thing. By the way, moving to football, point 3, Benny Snell Jr.'s 2-yard touchdown run gave Pittsburgh the lead with under 10 minutes to go, and the Steelers fended off a last-minute comeback bid to beat the Indianapolis Colts 24-17 on Monday Night Football. Benny Snell had 12 carries for a season-high 62 yards after replacing the injured Najee Harris in the third quarter. Harris was ruled out at halftime with an abdominal injury. Pittsburgh won its 8th straight over Indy. Did you watch any of the game? You're out here this Eastern time zone. Are you noticing how it's really screwing with your sports watching? Really makes a difference, doesn't it?
So late. But we caught the end of it. I mean, the Raptor game was over, and it was only halftime at the football game. So we went across the street and watched that. And I saw that game, and there was a couple opportunities for Indy to win that game, and they never took advantage.
Yeah. Well, the Colts lose again, Jeff Saturday now 1-2. And it's been awesome getting on NHL radio today talking about the Panthers and Connor Bedard, which incidentally is our next point. Then we'll get to the NBA and a little CFL stuff. But I got a call this morning from DeBuck. Just so you know, Matt DeBuck, the coach at Cardinal Gibbons. He said, hey, Rod, do you play poker? And I said, not well. So for that case, no. And he goes, well, we got a bunch of guys getting together in Fort Lauderdale on Sunday night. Would like you to come. Just hang out anyways. Make a donation. And so the football guys, I'll be out with them Sunday night. These are NFL guys, college guys, high school guys. And I said, how you feel about the playoff game that they lost Friday night? He's still mad, Darren. Still mad that they lost. This is the high school coach. And I'm like, yeah, Matt, you're not going to, I'm sorry, but you can't win 3 straight Florida championships, 3 straight state championships. And he broke out laughing. They're the 2-time 5A Florida State high school champions, and he's pissed off that they lost. And it tells you, I said, if the players had half the fire in their belly that DeBuck has, they'll be fine. But I think that the Blue Bombers are probably still feeling that after losing to Toronto in the Grey Cup, right? They're going after their 3rd, and you don't win it. You think you own it, Yeah. So I just thought we'd get a kick out of that with a chat with DeBuck. We'll bring you back to talk Raptors later. Hawks lost last night, but we're going live to the Saddle Dome next. It is the warm-up. We're right in the middle of it. The RP Show is on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and the key WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might fracture your wrist, resulting in a lifetime of painful arthritis. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming of the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM certified pre-owned trucks and make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
The Panthers are on the road one night after a 4-3 loss at the Edmonton Oilers in overtime. They visit the Calgary Flames tonight, and we have him for a good time, not a long time. Sportsnet Flames host Ryan Leslie joins us, I believe, from the Saddledome in advance of the Flames and Panthers tonight. Ryan, I appreciate you, my man. Happy game day, and if you don't mind, can we jump right into it? What do we expect for the return of Chucky tonight, your good friend, to the Saddledome?
I think it's Roddy. Great to be with you. I think it's going to be a welcome return, at least tonight. I think people are going to have their final goodbye. I think it's going to be a matter of a chance to, as I've said in the past, I think Flames fans for the most part are probably going to sort of view Matthew as their guy. They drafted him, they saw him come into the league, and they saw him with those shenanigans, and they embraced him for it. The antics, the playing on the edge, sometimes dipping a toe over it. They know what a dangerous player he was. There'll be some who say, look, he didn't want to be a part of this. I get it. We're going to boo him, which is understandable. But I think for the most part, at least tonight, unless he does some donkey move that drives everybody nuts, I think at that point, things will change. But if he just kind of keeps it on the rails, who knows if he does? I think he's pretty excited to be back here, but I think the crowd will be positive for the most part.
Well, I didn't realize that you two are as close as you are or were until I watched your Instagram live. What do you think he's going through today, Ryan? Are his guts churning, do you think? And I would assume they are. Will that manifest onto the ice, do you think?
I think he's an entertainer. I remember him once saying to me, look, I'm not a hockey player. I'm an entertainer. I kind of laugh at that. But he knows that the bright lights and the spotlight's on him, and it's been, for the most part, his entire career. He relishes it. I don't think nerves are a thing at all for this guy. I really don't. I think he's just going to try and, play the exact way that Flames fans knew and appreciated him for. So, I think it's business as usual for him. The back-to-back plays a little bit. There's not all the hype. We won't speak to him publicly till after 4, I think, here. So they're not coming to the rink today. So recover, recuperate, and get ready for what could be an emotional night on it. But I don't know if, for the most part, I think players would feel that. The moment won't be lost on him, but I'm not sure nerves and anxiousness will be a thing.
I'll come back to the game in a second, but when Johnny Gaudreau comes back with Columbus, I don't think we'll be saying the same things. That might be different. Agree or disagree?
I would agree. Yeah, I think the way that both players left were completely different. And there was maximum return in the deal for Tkachuk, which he was very clear and had great dialogue with Brad Treliving on. So, yeah, I think there'll be very different receptions.
So, and then to the game. Calgary Flames, I still think they are one of the top teams in the NHL talent-wise, but you've been with them for every game. They're a 500 team as we sit here today. It's not about Tkachuk for the Flames tonight, right? It's about playing a great game and getting 2 points.
Yeah, you need one more. You got to find some offense, and you've got to find one more big save that allows you to, prevents you rather from being deflated early on or middle of the game, whatever. They've been happy with a lot of their game. They just need some offense, and they need a timely save. They had it certainly from Dan Vladar, but it's Jacob Markstrom who knows, admittedly, that he's got to make one more big save. Can't have a gaff. But right now, the concern in this city, Roddy, is where's the offense? And there's a lot of talk about, listen, if these guys aren't scoring, why aren't we going to the American League when you've got Matthew Phillips, a Calgary guy, who is lighting it up, player of the week, leading scorer in the American League right here, in Calgary for the Wranglers. And he is small. I just don't think he's going to get a shot at this. And it's really tough because there's a growing, it's not a murmur anymore. It's a full-on conversation. Why wouldn't you call this guy up? Nobody else is scoring. Send a message. Get this kid in there for a game or two and see. Put him on the right type of line. See if you can kickstart this thing. Now, that's not going to fly with Daryl Sutter in terms of letting the outside dictate anything. But, there was a lot of Flames presence at that Wrangler game over the weekend, and rightly so. It's still here in Calgary. You've got to do your scouting on this. But to get eyes on Matthew Phillips, to see what he's doing statistically, you wonder if there's a sniff. But I would say no.
Well, you brought up Daryl, and it's my last question before I let you go. I'm wondering what he's saying about this. I heard him say, maybe to you, we didn't have a lot of spots open going into training camp. The roster was generally set, but that Wranglers team, you mentioned Phillips, they've got Connor Zary, they got Cole Schwint. There's a lot of guys that could be called up, and the Flames are underachieving right now. So do you think eventually they will start making those moves, those call-ups?
Well, they've had to on the back end, certainly, with the injury. So they have done that, and some American League guys came up. Up front, there were some injuries. Adam Ruzicka, he's playing really well, then took a step back, then responded really well. So, but there are a number of underachievers here right now, Roddy, on the offensive department. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, but, Daryl's just what, when you think, he's going to do the opposite. So factor that. It's like the Seinfeld episode, right? But yeah, it's his show and it's his roster. And I certainly, would never question what an NHL coach is doing in terms of bench management and that type of thing. But it's pretty interesting to see how this plays out because it's really hard to ignore the obvious right now. The goalie, or rather the offense is dried up. Well, you got a guy who's lighting it up in the American League. It makes a lot of sense. That doesn't mean it'll necessarily happen.
Fun to watch, fun to follow, fun to talk to you, my friend. Enjoy the game tonight. Have a great broadcast. Say hey to my guy, Len, our favorite usher, and I'll be seeing you soon.
Oh, Lenny, yeah. All right, man. Great to be with you. Enjoy the warmth.
Right. Thanks, you, Ron. Appreciate you. Ryan Leslie, Sportsnet Flames. It's a very big game tonight, one of 9, the Florida Panthers at the Calgary Flames. We can bring Moose in if he's still kicking around. If not, I can handle it here for a while. Northside YEG checks in from Edmonton and says, ask Ryan Leslie why the Flames aren't going to make the playoffs this year. How about no? I'm not going to ask that. Sorry for kicking the camera there. But it does make you wonder, are both the Flames and Oilers going to be in the playoffs this year? They're not both right now, but they did a little flip-flop here over the last couple days. Jennifer from the Four Seasons writes in, and she says, I loved that yesterday in Edmonton, even if it was just watching on TV. Would have been better being there. Oh, yeah. What an end. What a game. What was it, 3:59 into the game, the Panthers scored, got the 1-0 lead, held. The lead went back and forth. They had a lead with 30 seconds to go. Tkachuk blows the tire in overtime and is on the ice for the game winner against. Wow. Wayne in Victoria, BC says, great insight from Ryan Leslie. That's why we got him. Imagine a daytime sports talk show that goes live to the venue on game day.
How about
From
that?
my cousin Christine. Good morning from Medicine Hat. Are the Tigers playing tonight? No. How about no? Which reminds me, there are 2 games in the dub tonight. The Regina Pats are at the Kelowna Rockets, and the Moose Jaw Warriors are at Victoria. The Pats are mopping the floor with BC division opponents, by the way, on this West Coast trip, if you haven't noticed. From some of the viewers on the comments here, boy, Northside Edmonton's got a lot to say for himself here. Everybody calling Tkachuk Turtle Island. You guys ever going to get over that? Ever? I mean, I get it, but he doesn't even play for the Flames anymore. Bringing it back, poll question today for Capital Automall Universal Collision Center is, as we open our jersey bracket, and this thing's going to run all winter. I love how much you people get into the jerseys. On Twitter, 74% in this bracket. Bracket opener today, the Florida Panthers versus the Tampa Bay Lightning, 74% voting for the Florida Panthers. I believe they call it Palms and Pucks. It's not this logo, but it's similar to it. You've seen it, the baby blue jerseys. I think Florida in a romp. Too bad that wasn't the case when the two teams played each other. Our NHL coverage brought to you in part by Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Hiring now. Find out everything you need to know about Bronco at broncoplumbing.com and our Facebook and Instagram pages. By the way, just a note on Connor Bedard. In the interview on NHL Network Radio this morning with Scott Laughlin, he asked me about number 98 of God's team, the Regina Pats, and basically, what is there to say? We're not talking about him being traded or not. It didn't come up on the NHL radio interview. But just about how great this kid is. 100, and thank you, Clark, for this, 176 points in 100 games. And he's still only 17. And what's he going to do with the World Juniors? And is he a lock to be the number 1 overall pick? Yes, he is. But Adam Fantilli of Michigan and Mishkov of Russia are breathing down his neck. And the World Juniors this year might have a lot to say about that. Can we get a ruling on, is Russia going to be in the World Juniors this year? Like, I understand that Hockey Canada has gone under the radar big time, but we haven't had a camp invite list for the tournament. I don't know if Russia's going to be there or not. Somebody want to let me know? I feel like Barney trying to find out if Canadian universities offer athletic scholarships or not. You tell me, is he ready to go and then go to a break? Is that the deal? They're still trying to get Barney in. By the way, oh, he is? Okay. We'll get to the fact that Adam Bighill has signed a contract extension with Winnipeg in a moment. The Atlanta Hawks, here come the Hawks, losing last night at Philly, 104-101. The Hawks got to get it together. And as you know, we're airing daily in Metro Atlanta on WQEE. And the Raptors won over Cleveland last night, 100-88. Just one last word in this segment from our sponsor, New York Fries. They're a proud member of the Calgary community, and to give back, they're hosting free public skating opportunities at ice rinks around Calgary, open to families and the general public in support of Kids Sport Calgary. Visit FamilySkateYYC.com for a full list of times and locations presented by New York Fries. Get your questions and comments ready for famed NHL pugilist and soon-to-be best-selling author Matthew Barnaby. He joins us next. It's the RP Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, your favorite podcast platform, and WQEE The Key 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your back in a way that causes nerve damage or partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps with WorkSafeSask.ca.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersenshop.com.
RP Show continues, and just before our chat with Matthew Barnaby, in theaters now at your local landmark cinemas, Devotion, an aerial war epic based on the best-selling book of the same name, tells the harrowing true story of 2 elite U.S. Navy fighter pilots during the Korean War. Their heroic sacrifices would ultimately make them the Navy's most celebrated wingmen. It's Devotion. We all love these war movies. In theaters now at your local landmark cinemas. Okay, let's bring in Matthew Barnaby. And before we go any further, any donkeys can sit and talk hockey, which we're about to, because we're a couple of donkeys. But Barney, listen, man, I'm 3 chapters into this. And for those that don't know, Mark Messier wrote one of the forwards. The other's by Eric Lindros. This is a story that should inspire any boy or girl to never give up on their dreams. That's from Mess. That's not what I'm getting out of this book. Well, that and other things. But Barney, I'll just say this. When you think there's nobody in the world that gets you, I get you. So there's at least one other roaming this planet that gets you, Barney, after reading this. And I'm just wondering, how's the journey been? The book tours, the signings since this thing got released. How's it going, man?
It's good, RP. Thanks for having me on. And man, it looks beautiful down in Florida. I missed it already. Can't wait to get back there in January. But, you know, the whole process of writing a book, I wanted to do it for a long, long time for various reasons. And I think as I get older, it's something I can leave to my kids and they can have. And it's just, you know, I think I have a pretty good story. I was drafted last overall in junior and was fortunate enough to play. And I always said I was lucky. And it wasn't until my wife said, you weren't lucky. You worked really hard. You were at the right place at the right time. But you know, you missed a lot of things in your childhood and you worked really hard and you took on a role and you really did anything to make it to that next level. And, you know, the journey of writing the book, it took about a year. It's a long, long process. And for a guy with a grade 11 and a half, a couple times, it was a fun process, a long process. But also it was a therapy without spending $250 an hour in the end to a therapist. So a lot of fun things. I'm really glad I did it. Would never write another one because it takes a long, long time. But man, it was fun. And these book signings have been great. You get to see fans that, you know, you always, when you retire, you miss playing in the playoffs. I don't miss playing game to game. But you miss the fans. You miss them cheering your name. Everyone has a little bit of an ego, and it's just nice to be appreciated. And I think this book brings a lot of that back, and was also for me able to thank a lot of people that helped me along the way achieve my goal of playing the NHL.
Well, as Mess says, it's, you know, a story inspiring any boy or girl not to give up on their dreams. What I take away from it, and we'll get to the viewer comments here in a second, is don't be afraid to fail. Like I said, I'm only 3 chapters in. You got your butt kicked forever. When you first started fighting, it seems like 3 years. You never won a fight. You kept fighting, and you made it into the NHL. You weren't afraid to lose. That translates to life. You know that, Barney, right?
That translates to life, 100%, RP. This isn't a book just about, you know, that. When I started reading it, I think about, you know, the failures you have and the ups and downs you have. And we're all human. We make mistakes. I've been knocked down. You got to get back up. Don't feel sorry for yourself. We all go through tough times. I can go to my childhood and not having a dad. That's just an excuse. You know, find a way to motivate yourself. And, you know, we always talk and I say a lot of things, and I try to do public speaking and get into motivational speaking for companies and out there. And, you know, I don't know if there's lazy people or if it's just you haven't found something that motivates you. And I think, you know, for me, I grew up poor. I grew up with no money. I wanted a way out. And for me, I wasn't going to be a brain surgeon. I can tell you that. So I had to find another way, whether it was hockey or, like you said, anything, any realm in life. Now that we're, you know, I'm out of hockey and you get knocked down, you have to find a way to pick yourself up and try to be the best version of yourself that you can, not only for you, for your family, for your kids, for your partner, whatever it may be, but most of all for yourself.
Well, the book's amazing. Your kids will be proud of you, which I know they already are. Man, I can't wait to get through the next chapter. Ted in Red Deer says, clearly I need to get the book. Yes, you do. And Barney, remind me to remind people how they can get it. And Frank Salazar's watching. He says, nice shirt, Rod. Will you be there? Yes, I'll be at FLA Live Arena for the NHL All-Star Game, first week of February. We'll be here. We'll give you details on that, too. But, Barney, so with Matthew Tkachuk's return to the Saddledome tonight with the Panthers, you said Brad Marchand is something you always aspired to be as a player. Where does Tkachuk fit in there? What's your read on him?
Man, he's right up there. Like I was those guys with not as much talent. And you look at Brad Marchand and how skilled he is playing in, you know, the Olympics and playing on a line with Sidney Crosby and like just absolutely incredible stuff. Matthew Tkachuk is, I think, what every Pest wants to be. He wants to be villain number one in any place that he goes. And you look at, you know, him leaving Calgary, he was a fan favorite and rightfully so. He you know, plays every shift like it's his last, every game like it's his last. And I think that's what everyone wants. Now, when he leaves and because he wanted to leave. Now you become villain number one. I was that guy. Not the same. I'm not comparing myself talent-wise to Matthew Tkachuk, but I played in Buffalo for 7 years. I was the one that asked out, and I got traded to Pittsburgh. When my first game back, are there nerves? Absolutely. Did I want to be hated by Buffalo fans now? Absolutely. That was part of it. And that's a tricky thing because you still want to be admired by the fans that loved you and really those first 7 years of my career. But when I come back, if I'm not hated by the Buffalo Sabres fans, I'm not doing my job for Pittsburgh. And that's my ultimate goal, is to be hated. But he will have nerves. He will have jitters. And once that, the first couple shifts get out of the way, then it's back to Matthew Tkachuk being himself. But he is going to be a pain in the ass. And he's going to do everything he can to be villain number one every time he plays in Calgary.
Well, they're going to want to get the win. He's going to want to have a good showing. I'm sure he won't be able to have a nap this afternoon. It's going to be a hell of a hockey game. Florida Panthers at the Calgary Flames tonight. One night after, by the way, the Oilers coming back to beat the Panthers last night. That tying goal and overtime winner was the quickest span in NHL history for a tying goal and OT winner. Like, the Panthers must have felt like they got their pants pulled down last night. Were you following that game at Rogers Place?
By the way, I was off and on. I was watching football and watching a lot of different things, but pulling my pants down and crapping my pants, I think that is chapter 13 or 12. I can't remember.
I haven't got
that
there
was
yet.
The Drake Hotel in Chicago with Dennis Rodman, but that's a story for people to read. Yeah, it was Edmonton. Listen, I'd love to play center in between these two guys. Might be three elite centers on one line. But if there's a team that can do it, and we saw it against the New York Rangers last week or earlier in the week, that, they can come back. No lead is safe with this team, when they have the likes of Draisaitl and McDavid. Bouchard scored a couple the other night. So these guys can fall behind, and that's what I love about the NHL. It used to be, mid-90s, 2-0, turn off the TV, go to bed. We're going to see a hook fest till the end. Now, no lead safe, and I think that's great for hockey.
Yeah, well, ask the New York Rangers against the Oilers on Saturday. John Ohm says, Matthew Barnaby, you need to come to Winnipeg for a book signing, dude. Let's go back to the book for the rest of this interview. We got about 3 minutes. What's the tour ahead? How do people get you to their town if they want to? What's up?
First of all, is the Palomino Club still there? If it is,
no,
I'm in.
No, it's not.
It isn't
It's
there.
not.
Okay, Winnipeg, I'm only going there in the summer. We can go fishing or boating or doing something. I'm not coming in February. I made that mistake once. That's not happening again, but we are going to do a Western tour in like April, May, in conjunction with some Alzheimer's events, Gordie Howe Care, some stuff that I have coming out that way. We are going to Buffalo again in the coming weeks. We couldn't hit all the spots that I wanted, that I, frequented a lot, all the restaurants. I was stuck in Florida, in Orlando, visiting my son who plays hockey in the East Coast League, and there was a small little hurricane, more of a tropical storm. So I had to delay some of those, going back to Buffalo in a few weeks, then Toronto, and finishing up in Ottawa before the new year. And anyone that wants to get it, whoever's in the States listening, you can go to any of the chapters anywhere throughout Canada. I know we're stocked in Western Canada at the Indigos. If you want it personalized, you can either go to my site, MatthewBarnaby36.com, or just email me at MatthewBarnaby3636@gmail.com, and I can personalize it, do whatever you want.
Yeah, well, hey, you're doing it right, and you got our full support, whatever you need, and I will be writing a full review on it when I'm done. Shouldn't be long, maybe by the end of the week. But it's unfortunate with our former teams that things go this way. I mean, my book was pulled from all the shelves of the Rough Rider stores. The Sabres aren't selling yours, maybe for different reasons. What's the story there, Barney? I hear the stories are too hot. What's up with that?
I said, is it too unfiltered? It's too hot for you guys to handle it? And it isn't. I mean, no one's going to jail with this. No marriages are being broken up. Are there some great stories and some stuff that you'll be blown away? Yeah, there's some inside the NHL stuff. I sent out a tweet about 3 years ago saying that the Sabres haven't made the playoffs in 8 years and probably going to be another 5, and that their ownership, Kim Pegula, who actually recently fell sick. So I don't want to pile on, because that's more important than anything that's going on in my life or this book. But, I tweeted out that I was more capable of flying a 747 and put a picture of me in a 747 than she was of running an NHL team. And I firmly believe that. There's too many cooks in the kitchen in Buffalo. They're 11 years without making the playoffs. It's going to be 12. It sucks when you're you're already at Thanksgiving in the United States, and you're about 11, 12 points out of a playoff position. So it's going to be 12 years. So I stand by those comments. I am unfiltered. The book's unfiltered, and they canceled last minute. It's not a big deal in the end. I just wanted to be able to see a lot of Sabres fans there. So instead of doing it there, I'm just really going to every place right around the rink on game days, and that's how you get back at.
Doesn't it suck when you speak the truth? Truth hurts.
Yes.
Barney, keep it up, man. I'll be shooting you a text from time to time when something dawns on me. I particularly loved the Neil Houston story last night. So, man, keep being you, and happy holidays.
Thanks to you as well. And yes, I love the text last night. I said another goal by Neil Houston. You said no, another 5-minute major, 10-minute misconduct, game misconduct from Neil Houston. So, cheers, buddy. Thanks for the support.
Thanks, Barney. The great Matthew Barnaby joining us on video chat today from Ottawa. We'll be back with a viewer takeover sports update. Gus Frerotte on the way in hour 2. It's the RP Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, your favorite podcast platform, and WQEE, the key 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might fracture your wrist, resulting in a lifetime of painful arthritis. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Take up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
Okay, here we go. Welcome back. What a great day to talk sports. Matthew Tkachuk's return to Calgary. I see writing into our Facebook page, Eric Ellis says, this will be my first NHL game. Should be a memorable one. Oh, man, do you remember yours? Let's talk about that next hour when we come back in hour 2. What was your first NHL game? Mine was a doozy. I remember it very well. It was in Edmonton, 1984. A sports update, the Toronto Blue Jays are making a small change. Where's my bell? Breaking news from Toronto. The Blue Jays are making a small change to some home game start times next year, pushing back the first pitch for Sunday matinees by half an hour to 1:37 p.m. Eastern. With a few exceptions over the course of the season, weekday start times will remain at 7:07 p.m. and Saturdays will be 3:07 p.m. The home schedule at the newly renovated Rogers Center will kick off April 11th against the Detroit Tigers. NHL tonight, as mentioned, Matthew Tkachuk faces his former team as the Florida Panthers. Visit the Calgary Flames. Tkachuk, who had a 104-point season for the Flames last season, was dealt to Florida this summer for Jonathan Huberdeau and Mackenzie Weegar in a package deal. Also tonight, the Montreal Canadiens host San Jose, the Winnipeg Jets welcome Colorado, and the Vancouver Canucks entertain Washington. From the CFL, All-star linebacker Adam Bighill has agreed to a 2-year contract extension with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Bighill is a 3-time winner of the CFL's Most Outstanding Defensive Player Award and a 3-time Grey Cup champion. Last season, he led the Bombers in total defensive plays with 72 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 interception, and 1 tackle for a loss. The sports update for Ito Japan, from hand-rolled sushi to bento box meals made with their famous teriyaki sauce. Ito Japan's menu has something for everyone. And also for the Kinsman Telemiracle online 50-50 raffle. It's live now. That draw date's coming up Friday, December the 16th. And do you have your tickets yet? We're still a Saskatchewan show. It's our #1 region for audience, largest numbers. 70,000 homes on SaskTel Max TV. You're watching us right now. Get on the computer, go to telemiracle5050.com right now, or even on your phone like I did, and buy your tickets. You have to be 19 years of age or over, physically in the province of Saskatchewan, and we'll make the draw on Friday, December the 16th. Our first 2 50-50 raffles raised over $1 million to support the work of the Kinsman Foundation in Saskatchewan, so please don't delay. Get yours today. Not much time left in this hour. I will remind you, it's kind of dead here on the text line, people. What I would like to do is have you pick up the phone wherever you're watching from. We're on the air in all 10 provinces in Canada, 31 U.S. states. That's just on television. We got the entire state of Georgia listening on the radio. Send us a text, 902-518-3033. And I would like to talk a little bit about this show next hour when Moose rejoins and NFL Pro Bowl quarterback Gus Frerotte. Last minute of play in hour 1. Just this book of Barney's. I couldn't believe he said he was not afraid to say that he got his butt kicked. 3 years he fought before he even won a fight in midget and then junior. And finally went to the National Hockey League with the Buffalo Sabres and got beat up there. He didn't care. And it was just reminds me a little bit of this show. I mean, we went on the air. We don't care if we lose. We just want to have fun and do our thing. And it's worked out. And, there's a little more to it than that. But this is an inspirational book, I'm telling you right now. And funny. It's just, he just been meaning to be an inspiration. That's the funny part about Barney. So we'll talk about that and more. And as I mentioned, Gus Frerotte with us in hour 2. So stick around. We'll be right back after this quick break on Game Plus and WQEE.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, Or you might injure your back in a way that causes nerve damage or partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game.
My counselor, Rand Teed, he's a national treasure. Here's his one fundamental thing. Don't be a dink. So it'd be pretty sad if the NFL came out and restricted the media even more. Hey, Devontae, you're storming off the field. Maybe, and there's a guy cutting in front of you, maybe just stop. How about that?
How about that?
That's it. Life comes down to don't be a dink.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
It is. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. It's hour 2. And let's get it going. It's a very big day in Calgary. Where's my bell? Game day for the Flames. The Florida Panthers are in town. Of the 9 in the NHL tonight, that's the biggest game, Matthew Tkachuk's return. And they're still celebrating in Edmonton. They're still gloating somewhat that the Oilers came back. And I can't remember what the exact time frame. It was less than a minute between them tying the game and sending it to overtime and then winning the game in overtime. It was like 59 seconds, the fastest ever. And, if we can bring the Moose back in. He is in the T-Dot, the Moose here. Tell everybody that we're live on YouTube right now. YouTube Live. We're also on WQEE Radio in Noonan, Georgia, and also on Game Plus TV. So, Moose, near the end of hour 1, and I should remind people that Gus Frerotte coming up here in hour 2 to talk NFL, but this viewer, Eric Ellis, wrote in and said his very first NHL games tonight. Flames, Panthers in the Saddledome, Matthew Tkachuk's return. Can you imagine? And to be
That's
honest,
outstanding.
well, my mind immediately went to my first NHL game. And I've told the story before, but I got to tell it again because everybody keeps telling me you got a new audience and people are just discovering who you are and blah, blah, blah. So it was 1984. Family loaded up the station wagon and we drove from Milestone, Saskatchewan. And by the way, first regular season game. We went to preseason games. They don't count. That was in the Agrodome when the St. Louis Blues had their training camp in Regina. So we went to the Oilers and the Blues. Andy Moog was in goal for the Oilers. Greg Millen was in goal for the Blues. And I was mad because I wanted to see Grant Fuhr. I was 8. And the Oilers won 4-2. We sat in the very top row at Northlands Coliseum, and it was amazing. And I remember driving down white mud. Here's the 8-year-old me in the middle of the back seat of the station wagon going, Wayne Gretzky probably drives down this street, this road right here. Wayne Gretzky. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just about the game. It was about the entire whole experience. I want the viewers and listeners to write in and tell me, where was your first NHL game? 902-518-3033 or in the YouTube feed. I've asked you yours, Darren, but I forget. What was it?
Yeah, I think it was 2007 or 2008. It was in Vancouver. I was there on a spring trip. Didn't even realize it was by accident. I didn't realize that it was a playoff game and one of the opening games in Vancouver. They were playing the Dallas Stars, and this is when the Canucks were pretty good. And we got tickets last minute from the scalper outside. We sat up in the second deck, right in the corner, and the game went to 4 overtimes. I remember the fans chanting Marty Turco's name, Turco, you suck, right? We had a towel on the back of the seat, said, we are all Canucks. And they ended up scoring. The Canucks won in 4 overtimes. We rode the Sky Train back with all the Canucks fans. And it was an awesome experience for your first game to go into that market, the home team. They win it in multiple overtimes, and then you ride back with the fans. It was pretty cool. And that's why I have a little attachment to the Canucks as a Western Conference team.
Oh, dude, was just talking to a guy the other day about that. And I got to stay on track here. From our viewers, John in Edmonton says, my first NHL game was Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton. From Northside YEG says, first NHL game was at the new rink, 2019 Oilers Jets. He's saying that Rogers Place. From Braden Wozniak, one of our interns, my first game was in Vancouver, watching the Canucks right behind the Dallas Stars bench. Was a big Jamie Benn fan. From my cousin Christine in Medicine Hat, says my first game was in Calgary. When they scored, the flame surprised me. Big time. They let off 2 flames in there that would burn your eyebrows if you weren't paying attention at Saddledome games. It's awesome. From Plotter, my first game was in 2009 when the Leafs got killed by the Penguins at home. From Robin Wildey in the Gateway to the North, my first game, Northlands, Edmonton versus the Islanders. That was when Rich Pilon and Linden played with the Islanders. You can definitely tell when Pilon was on the ice, just his size and his nose. From John Ohm. My first NHL game, 1981, Philly at the Jets. I sat in the private box of the Fort Garry Hotel. My uncle was the bartender. And from Rod Monroe, the father of our producer Clark, he says, Northlands as well, Rod. Had son Scott and producer Clark with me. Dallas against the Oilers, Modano and crew. Amazing atmosphere. And from BW in Edmonton says, nosebleeds, a.k.a. 300 section of the old Northlands Coliseum. What do we, an Edmonton show today? What do our analytics show? This would be a good time to mention that we've long known we've got a lot of viewers in Edmonton, but they don't comment. They just sit there.
Yeah.
They don't write in. They rarely ever comment in. Off the top of your head, do you remember the top 5 cities for audience for the RP show?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Regina, Winnipeg, Calgary, Edmonton, and Saskatoon are the top 5 cities
there you go.
For viewership in this show.
You got the prairie provinces covered there right now.
Yeah.
But Georgia's making a run. You said New York is in the 10th spot,
man.
right?
Yeah, New York is up there. As you know, a lot of fans in Ohio, Texas, California, for U.S. viewership, and then obviously we're growing in markets out here like Toronto and Montreal and Vancouver, and Halifax is another pocket of viewership for this city. So for this show, so it's a lot of fun.
Let's make a little noise wherever you are. And I forgot to mention that Darren is in Toronto right now, and I'm going to ask you about the Raptors next, but. Back to the big board, the text line, the 902. Edmund, who incidentally was my very first ever statistician on football broadcasts. He says, I saw my first NHL game, Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, November 1970, prior to the Grey Cup.
How about
From
that?
Devon in Burns Lake, BC. My first NHL game was Valentine's Day, 2017, Stars versus Jets. I had the thought of bringing a forgetful cap in case someone's to score 3. Oh, a hat he doesn't need. Yeah. But shrugged it off. It won't happen. Sure enough, line A puts 3 in. No hesitation. I threw out my favorite Jets hat. Do people do that? Do they take a hat they don't want to the game in the event that there's a hat trick? That's some serious forethought right there. Chris,
I don't have enough planning for that.
No, those hats are too expensive too, by the way. And every hat that I have means something to me. Every single one. Even that Regina Pats hat that I got this summer that had a 100-year logo on it, I'm like, you give me a 5-year-old hat. Because their logo, their 100th anniversary was 2017. But I'm like, you gave it to me for free, so thank you. That's the phrase, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Do you even know what that phrase means, by the way? Because I do. Do you know what it means? You've heard it.
Take me to it.
Don't look a gift.
I've heard it plenty.
You know what it means?
Yeah, when somebody's offering you something, take it. Don't be disrespectful, but I don't know the origin of it.
If somebody gives you a horse as a gift, don't look in its mouth to see how long its teeth are, to see how old it is. Just say, thank you. Just take it. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. That's the phrase. So anyways, Chris in Surrey, BC says, first NHL game, Canucks and Blackhawks at Pacific Coliseum. Can't remember the year. But Bobby Orr was with the Hawks. How about that?
How about
I
that?
had
Hot damn.
I know. When I was a kid, my parents gave me a jigsaw puzzle that was Bobby Orr as a Chicago Blackhawk, and it just blew my mind because whenever you see all these highlights later on of Orr of the Bruin, I'm like, but he's a Blackhawk. Like I was very little. You know what I mean? But it just, they should never, any photos of Bobby Orr in Blackhawks jersey should be burnt. Glenn Erickson's watching in Medicine Hat. And I might add, happy birthday, Glenn. He says, 1980, sitting in the nosebleeders at Pacific Coliseum, Canucks versus Minnesota. Thomas Gradin versus Dino Ciccarelli. Classic. By the way, thinking of Dino Ciccarelli makes me think of those Minnesota North Stars jerseys. And by the way, I was thinking about this over the weekend. The viewer had asked how I feel about the Minnesota Wild's retro reverse jerseys that are green and gold, but they have the current Minnesota Wild logo on them. And I said that they're a cheap imitation of that old North Stars logo. You know the Stars own that logo, the N. The Dallas Stars would own that, so they can't put it on anything, which is unfortunate. It's like, could you make some sort of rip-off of that N? Because it's not the same. But our poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center, by the way, is the first of our winter-long bracket challenge, and that is who has the best retro reverse jersey in the National Hockey League. And the very first bracket we're putting up against each other are the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And on Instagram, 88% are voting for the Florida Panthers. Obviously, for the viewers, it's the jersey on the right. Come on, anything baby blue. Baby blue. George Strait sings about it. That Tampa Bay jersey looks like somebody puked on it. So Florida is moving on. Florida's moving on. Unfortunately, this is not what happens on the ice, because when Florida and Tampa go head-to-head, it's Tampa that moves on. But it was Moose's idea, by the way, to go. You're going right after the jugular here on Florida-Tampa. That is a clash of the Titans in the very first one.
I know. We batted it around about doing some of the divisional rivalries right out of the gate. And, so this is number
1:11 Eastern. It's 1:11 Eastern.
Of course it is.
Just pointing that out. Yeah.
Beautiful.
We'll probably do Edmonton, Calgary pretty early. We'll probably do Toronto, Montreal pretty early. Because they all got to meet at least in one of the early rounds. But yeah, we'll be putting the whole bracket, the entire bracket put together, and it'll go out on our Instagram so people can see it. And then throughout the winter, we'll crown the champion.
Terry in Calgary says 1963, Montreal Forum against the Wings. My team, I was 11. You don't forget that stuff. And I have very few regrets in my life, but one is I didn't get to this point in my life in time to get to the Montreal Forum, Chicago Stadium, Boston Garden, Olympia, the Joe in Detroit, all those places I didn't get to. I could go now, but I'm at a point in my life where I just want to sit here in South Florida and go to Panthers games and Dolphins games and Hurricanes games and Chiefs games. I just want to sit here. I don't want to travel too far. I'm loving it. So Moose was at the Raptors game last night. They won over Cleveland 100-88. The Atlanta Hawks lost again. Come on, Hawks. You got to pick it up. Here come the Hawks at Philly. John in Edmonton wants to know if you've gone to the Toronto Sports Network yet while you've been out there, a.k.a. TSN. They want to know what you've been up to.
Not yet. I've been downtown at the Rogers campus, but not to TSN yet. But I've been around. Spent some time at Air Canada Center, or was Air Canada Center. Geez, Scotiabank Arena. Dating myself.
Yeah.
And be honest, as a Leaf fan, it's my first time in the building. So every time I come out to this city, it's been on business or for work, and hasn't been to come watch a game. So hopefully we'll get in there for a Leaf game Wednesday night. I think they welcome San Jose Wednesday. It'll be my first time in that building. And I never got to see Maple Leaf Gardens as a kid. I just thought that I would get to Maple Leaf Gardens. And then when they announced the last game and they were going to have it on Hockey Night in Canada, I'm like, I have to go. Every fiber in my being, I'm like, I have to go. And I'm going to go. But I never told anybody. Never told mom and dad. Never told anybody that it was my dream to go. And so, of course, it never happened. And then I was really sad.
You got to put it out there.
Watching that last game. You got to put it out there. So
you got to put it into the universe. Ryan Marushak, the Shack, is watching in Saskatoon, and he says, the Panthers jersey is nice and crisp. Baby blue is awesome. Yeah, I just don't know how you can go wrong with anything that has blue in it, particularly baby blue. I'm just not a fan of the Vancouver Canucks retro reverse, but that's just me. Does Justin Dunk get recognized on the concourse at Raptors games? That's who Darren went with, Justin Dunk. Tell me. You're laughing. Was he recognized?
No, not once.
Okay. Allie in Texarkana says, was the color of her eyes. I'm murdering this George Strait song, Baby Blue. I'll just stop, but she knows it. Like the Colorado skies. This is not a surprise why.
Good one, Rod.
This is not a surprise why Winnipeg is number 2 for viewership now for the RP show and audience, because, listen, I was in Winnipeg for CFL week. Remember when they used to do that? And our good friend Dave Patrician, the guy that's the clone of Guy Fieri, our good friend, the sports doctor, Dave Patrician,
yes.
He took me to a Moose game because the Jets weren't in town. And we did loser laps around the concourse at Bell MTS Place, which was the name of it at the time. And people were catcalling me from across the concourse. And the sports doctor was like, are you kidding me? I said, people yell at me all the time in Winnipeg. They didn't like me. But the second I left the Rough Riders, it changed. And then I was one of them. So the point is, when we went to television in Winnipeg, and obviously YouTube, all you got to ask is that they know you. That's the main thing. Going into Alberta, I mostly wasn't known. And those that did know me hated me. They told me. That's how I know. So I had to do a lot of butt kissing for the last year on this show, but it's paid off. And all of a sudden, look who's 3 and 4 in viewership for the RP show, Calgary and Edmonton.
Yeah.
I went through 45 gallons of chapstick kissing butt in Alberta, but it paid off. We will. Hey, from John Ohm. Winnipeg loves Rod. Hard to believe, but here we are. Guest Frerotte coming up. We're going to take a timeout. It is the RP Show Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and WQEE, The Key 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your back in a way that causes nerve damage or partial loss of mobility. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Golf, Hawaii, and the Four Seasons. Imagine picking up your clubs and feeling like a pro for one whole week in paradise. Well, you can get that chance this December with 5-star accommodations, a 3-day tournament at a championship course, and loads of VIP experiences. The Pro Leisure Golf Tour is going to make you feel like a pro, even if your golf game doesn't. So whether you're looking to grab your golfing buddies for a tropical getaway or just wanting to find an exclusive VIP experience to take part in, the PLGT is perfect for you.
It's the RP Show, episode number 892 of your favorite daytime sports talk show is on the air. As Venus Flytrap famously said, on the air, I am the air. As we welcome in the Moose, Darren Moose DuPont. That
As
phrase
constant.
means nothing to you.
No.
As the Northern Star. Does that phrase, Venus Flytrap, mean anything to you, Moose? Be honest.
No, I know. Okay, I know Venus Flytrap from the George Clooney Batman. Okay, that's how I know Venus Flytrap. Wasn't she
Okay, no,
Poison Ivy?
WKRP.
The same idea. Yeah.
Yeah. WKRP, he was a DJ. The sun's coming around the north side. Forgive me if the shadows start here. I'm a radio guy by trade, not TV. I was kind of sitting here going, what the hang are we going to talk about now? Let's turn it over to the viewers. But I do have some thoughts that I want to get to, and then we can turn it over to the viewers. Whatever you people want. 902-518-3033 is the text line. You can also write in on the YouTube. But I want to point out this, as we sit here and say that Winnipeg is our number 2 city for viewership. There is news out of the Manitoba capital today. All-star linebacker Adam Bighill has signed a 2-year contract extension with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The 34-year-old Bighill was scheduled to become a free agent in February 2023. Bighill was to return to Winnipeg for will return to Winnipeg for a 5th season and his 11th in the Canadian Football League. He led the Blue Bombers in total defensive plays this year with 72 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 interception, and 1 tackle for a loss. And to be honest, that sounds like a dip for Biggie, who's a friend of the show. He's just a stud. And I just want to point out that the fans just don't really understand how things go. They don't. And I don't think that they ever will. We spent a lot of time on this show, Darren, trying to educate people. As I say, the football people and the hockey people, those are the people that I talk with every day. They don't get horny about the jerseys and the things that the fans do. They just don't. And that's why I think there's a disconnect. And it kind of goes back to, like, I skimmed by this very fast earlier when I was talking about it. And by the way, I was a little nervous on NHL radio today. And Kevin the Medium says he couldn't tell. He was listening. But I went back and listened to it. I'm like, I'm talking too fast. Here's a tip for all you wannabe broadcasters. And God knows there's 8 billion of them that have podcasts and think they can do it. Talk really slow. And just when you think you're talking too slow, talk slower. And give people time to digest what you're talking about. And I got on there with Scott Laughlin today. And I'm like, and Connor Bedard this, and Matthew Tkachuk that, and Paul Maurice this. And blah, 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 blah. I could tell even he was like. So back on point, Darren. Please stay with me. I know it's not easy. Everybody, here's Bighill. Why would you leave? Willie Jefferson re-signed on Saturday with Winnipeg, which incidentally I thought was a kind of ironic or ill-timed. We got rivalry weekend in the NFL, college football. A lot of things going on a Saturday. You don't see too many announcements come down on the weekend. Maybe there's a reason they announced Willie Jefferson's re-signed on a Saturday. Patrick Neufeld re-signed on the Friday, the day before, and I had people at the Grey Cup party saying, oh, he's from Regina. For sure he'll sign with the Rough Riders. No, everybody wants to stay in Winnipeg. It's a great culture. They're winning. They're in the Grey Cup every year. You see what I'm getting at, Darren? When you have a winning program, it feeds, it builds. And when you, frankly, have a losing program and a culture, people are staying away. What don't fans understand about that?
I know. And for Winnipeg, that's 3 cornerstones of your locker room. Forget about on the field. I mean, they got, you look at Dalton Schoen, you look at Zach Caleros, you look at some of the playmakers, but these are cornerstones of your culture and your locker room. And you said, with Cardinal Gibbons High School, unable to win the 3-peat of the 5A Florida State Championship, this is Winnipeg just as upset. And so instead of being upset, they sat down in a room and said, screw it, bring them all back. We're going to run the table again. Right? And so that's what they're doing. They're bringing everybody back. They're, taking another run at this, and it'll look pretty good if they win 3 out of 4, right? So Winnipeg's culture's back, and there's no reason to think they won't be just as good and pick up where they left off.
And that's the handbook. I go back to this Matthew Barnaby autobiography that I'm 3 chapters through, and I can't wait to pick up tonight and continue. It's a handbook there with what Winnipeg's doing. It's like, people, pay attention. Even before they started winning, Darren, because you and I have been around each other a long time, since 2015, I was like, watch out for Winnipeg, because they're building something. Remember? They hadn't even won anything yet, but what I'd heard, because it's a small league and you hear what's going on in other places. And, Barnaby's book here where he talked about getting the crap, never won a fight for the first 3 years of midget and junior, but he still got drafted into the NHL by the Buffalo Sabres because the teams liked his try. And that he never, no matter what, would not give up and accept defeat, no matter what. And look at the career that he had, Matthew Barnaby, which is very unfortunate, isn't it? I knew it's not, the Buffalo Sabres aren't barring Barney's books from their store in the Sabres arena because of the stories are too hot. I wanted to ask Barney when he came on, and I asked it for you, Darren. What's the deal on the Sabres thing? Because I said that they would miss the playoffs for 12 straight years, and he was right. And the owners are still ticked off in Buffalo. I mean, what are you supposed to say? What I said to you the other day, we're in a time in society where these teams and leagues, you used to be able to criticize. Listen, rant time for Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. With the Regina Pats not trading Connor Bedard, and the fact that the ownership doesn't want us talking about it. And we've talked to their staff, and they're like, we're not allowed to talk about trading Bedard. In 2010, when I was with the Regina Pats, and we didn't trade Jordan Eberle and Colton Tubert, we were at least allowed to go on the air and my website and talk about the fact that they should be traded, or maybe they won't, but these are they're not even allowed to talk about it now. And the fact that Barney was right about the Sabres not making the playoffs, that's why I'm so glad that we're doing this show and we can say what we want. We don't make anybody look bad. We don't sit here and drop F-bombs. We don't swear. We're very respectful. But these teams, they can't take the truth anymore, man. And I'm a little afraid. Will it ever go back to the way it was? I don't know. I don't see how it can.
Yeah, I don't know if it will or not. I mean, it more so than ever, right? Because everything is out there too. So, and it gets called up over and over and over. It's a delicate society that we're a part of now. And it's delicate about your actions and your words. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but it's definitely different. It's definitely different. And, if it's the media that's not holding, teams and executives accountable, you hope it's happening inside those walls, but I don't know if it always is at every level.
No, I don't think it is. I just got a text message from a guy the other day who said, I got fired by this pro team because of something I said on social media. And in the truth, I'm glad I said it because it's true, but I got fired. And I was like, well, thanks for letting me know, but I don't know. I guess it's because I came through the old school that I can't, I just can't go back. And I'll say it again, because off the start of this show, I had this nice little monologue planned today. And because of connection issues and so forth, it got fumbled up. But with me, I was so excited to go on NHL radio this morning with Scott Laughlin and talk about the Florida Panthers, because I've been coming here for over a year. The Panthers were good enough to give me a media pass for the whole season. And I'm sitting there watching the games. I'm like, how come I'm not being asked to talk about the Panthers, man? These are all my friends. It took over a year for that vision to be manifested to up till today to go on NHL radio and analyze the Florida Panthers. It's awesome, but it takes a while. You can have the vision, but you got to put the steps into action. And it hasn't been easy because people literally thought I was crazy. Because you've been side by side with me for the last year, hip to hip. Well, not literally, but figuratively. And it takes a lot of gumption to do something like this. But I literally live in the dream now, sitting here talking sports every day. And it's, pretty cool too. This goes back to how I started this, talking to Matt DeBuck, the coach of the Cardinal Gibbons Chiefs, calling me today. High school team asked me to come to their poker night on Sunday with a bunch of football guys. And he's still pissed off. They lost their playoff game on Friday night, denying them a third straight 5A Florida State championship. And I'm like, DeBuck, you can't win it every year. You know what he did? He broke out laughing. He's like, yeah, I guess you're right.
Of course you're right.
That's what makes,
how about that?
That's what makes these guys champions, though, Darren.
I know. That desire to win every year. And they take some time to celebrate, and then it's right back, because the next year you're only as good as your last game, your last snap, your last rep. your whatever you want to say and use all the cliches, but it's true. And these guys, if they're not the reigning champions, they feel like they're not doing their job. So that's how you build longevity and that consistency, and admire those coaches that take it that seriously.
And won't be able to sleep at night until they do. From Ted in Red Deer, he said, I'm sorry, Rod, I had to leave for a bit. The writers wouldn't sell your book. That makes me want to read it more now. What is the title of the book? The title is Green Magic. They didn't want to sell it for different reasons than Barney. They did sell it. That's what made it a bestseller. But then it got cleaned off the shelves once I left the team. Different reasons than, well, similar but different. They were upset with something that I said about them. Similar to Barney that way. But you can go to Amazon, search my name, and the books that I've written are there. Somebody's writing about Andrew Harris here in the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. John in Winnipeg, who's always got great comments. He says, I bet the Argos running back Andrew Harris has a big smile on his face these days. This is the one thing, and then we're going to break and bring in Gus Frerotte next. I was thinking of this the other day. Brandon Banks should be partying like Alex Ovechkin or Chris Strebler, right? He left Hamilton because he didn't think he was ever going to win a Grey Cup there, and clearly he was right. Goes and wins it with Toronto. That was hardly even a storyline of the Grey Cup. And I was there. How is a camera not following around Speedy B like it did Alex Ovechkin, partying like a rock star? And even Andrew Harris. Like, I haven't seen much at all out of the CFL since the Grey Cup ended. Deal or no deal?
No, you're right. Like, even during that game, as crazy it is. Now, I wasn't watching it on television, so I can't tell you what that said. But watching it in the stands, somebody in our section, when Brandon Banks made a play, was like, oh, that's right. Brandon Banks plays for Toronto. They forgot he played with the Argonauts and that he was in the big game. And you're right. Like, that could have been one of the big storylines. We talked a lot about Andrew Harris, and that was a big focal point of the week, trying to win his third in a row. And after, flipping from Winnipeg to Toronto. But yeah, Brandon Banks probably should have been a bigger storyline than it was. And he's got to be celebrating pretty hard. And we saw the photos afterwards, how happy he was. But yeah, it was not very well talked about.
No, I just think it's hilarious that I've been getting what I wrote on the weekend on my column about Bo and they getting ripped apart. And I'm like, nobody else is talking about the league right now. Nobody. There should be GoPros on the team, the players that won the Grey Cup. They just went away. And I'm like, you're never going to get it. Is Gus in? Oh. Okay, we're going to get Gus Frerotte here right away. So anyway, we'll do it. We're visible every day. Like Monday morning, I got up and I'm like, week 12 in the NFL. I'm going to have to listen to all these overreactions. And Zach Wilson will never play again for the Jets. And Aaron Rodgers is done. But they're there every day.
Yeah.
Day in and day out. You can't go away. If you want 101, exposure 101 while the NFL and its popularity is that's it. Moose, I'll see you back here in a bit.
Okay, sounds good.
It's the RP Show, Game Plus TV, YouTube Live. Pro Bowler, Gus Frerotte coming up next. WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might injure your knee, leading to joint damage or even a permanent disability. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Golf, Hawaii, and the Four Seasons. Imagine picking up your clubs and feeling like a pro for one whole week in paradise. Well, you can get that chance this December with 5-star accommodations, a 3-day tournament at a championship course, and loads of VIP experiences. The Pro Leisure Golf Tour is going to make you feel like a pro, even if your golf game doesn't. So whether you're looking to grab your golfing buddies for a tropical getaway or just wanting to find an exclusive VIP experience to take part in, the PLGT is perfect for you.
Beautiful day here in South Florida as we are talking sports, episode 892 of your favorite daytime sports talk show, live on Game Plus Television, YouTube Live, and on the radio, WQEE in Metro Atlanta. As the sun's rolling in here, apologize for the shadows, but let's bring him in now. 15 seasons in the National Football League, Pro Bowl quarterback Gus Frerotte joins us today. What is going on, Gus? You got a bet going with somebody, or what is the deal with that beard?
It's hockey season, Rod. Don't you know that? You wear a beard.
Okay, very Viking-esque, I might say. Hockey season there in the Pittsburgh area. I gotcha. Gus, can we jump right into it with the topical stuff? Your thoughts on Jeff Saturday being named head coach of the Colts. He's 1-2 now, and now he's being criticized for time management, clock management at the end of the Monday Night Football last night. What are your thoughts on all that, the 24-17 loss to the Steelers?
Well, I think Jeff's a great guy, great player. Obviously, when you go into a situation where you're coaching, the players are going to love him, right? He's been one of the guys in the locker room forever. He's been a leader forever. He knows how to do those things. I think there's just little things that go on with coaching that you have to learn over time that as a player you're not part of, and you don't get to see those things when you're with a team, right? If you're a player. So I think he'll learn those things. From what I understand, the guys love him, but I think that with Jeff, there's going to be a learning curve. Great guy, players love him. It's going to be an interesting thing to see the last part of the season with him and see if he really thinks this is something that he wants to do for another 10 years.
Well, and that's my question to you, because I know the coaches are upset, and I'm sitting here with other coaches in the industry, and I'm wondering, is Jeff going to change the way football's done, or is this going to end the way that we all kind of think it's going to end?
He may change a few things, but there's been a lot of guys who've been players that are coaches. Obviously, we see him all the time, and Mike Vrabel and other guys like that. But I don't know. I think there's always a way that a coach, takes his team because of what he believes and what he wants to do. I know there are other people that are upset because they kind of left out a lot of people, but it's an intermediate decision. And I think it's one that the owner said, okay, let's see it. He's a fan favorite. We might not be that great this year, but I can bring in a guy that everybody loves here in Indy, and maybe that'll take down some of the
hard times that we're having, because we saw last night that, you go through a whole first quarter and you don't have 1 yard of offense. It's pretty tough.
Yeah, absolutely. And can you imagine, like, if you were the Colts, which I don't believe you played in Indy, but every market's the same, where do you come back from this? Other than one step at a time. It's a long road for them.
It is a long road. I think that to me, the Colts, the biggest issue is they've been searching for a quarterback. They brought in Phillip Rivers and then Carson Wentz and now Matt Ryan. Instead of just going to get one of those top draft picks, trading up to get that quarterback that's going to be theirs for the future. They knew that when they got Matt Ryan, he wasn't going to be probably there for more than a year or two. And this will probably be his last year playing. I mean, in all reality, all the great things that he's done, but they've been searching for that position. And I think that's the position that they're looking to fill. They've had a great line. They've had some injuries, but that line will get healthy. They'll be back. They have an incredible running back. I think they're just missing a quarterback.
Well, then they'll have a chance probably to, if they're in the top 2 picks, to get one. Are you a believer in this? Like the Falcons, where we're on the air in Metro Atlanta right now, WQEE, I don't think we're expecting to be this good. Now, they're 500 record, below 500 record, but they could win the division. Do you think that they're winning too much in terms of this upcoming draft class?
No, I don't think so. I think they should have won the last game. I don't know how they ran the ball so well against the Commanders, and then all of a sudden at the end of the game, they want to throw it when they get down to the goal line. There's just certain things like that when I watch games and I watch coaching, my mind just kind of says, okay, what are we doing? But they have a good team. The coach has done a great job down there. He's put a lot of good players in, and they're playing well. He's doing something right that the players want to play for him. They might not have all the pieces, but it's the NFL. Every time you go out in that field as a player, you're auditioning for that team or some other team. So, winning always helps with emotions, helps everyone play better, and you're always out there promoting yourself and trying to win for your team.
Sure. Well, Terry Fontenot, the general manager of the Falcons, said going into the year, we're going to take it on the chin this year. And we all expected that. I'm just saying they've been better than I think even they thought. And what does this say about Arthur Smith? But there's, I think I read there's 4 teams in a playoff spot as we sit here today that weren't last year. We're 2/3 of the way into the season, Gus. One of those is the Dolphins. Like, what are you seeing out of the Finns here? And do you think they're going to, well, they're in a tough division, but they could fit it. They could win it.
Well, they got the best receivers coach in the league in Wes Welker. He's my buddy, so I got to say that. So, but Wes is, their receiving core with their quarterback, their head coach, and how smart he is and the way he puts plays together, it reminds me a little bit of like the Andy Reid kind of offense where, they're attacking. They're not just running the same old routes. They're getting their guys open. Obviously, with Waddle and Tyreek Hill, the speed helps with a good running game and everything else. And then they have a pretty good defense. So I think if you went back and looked at the beginning of the season and you listened to what everybody said, Tampa Bay probably was picked to be the Super Bowl champ and all this other stuff. We look at the Rams, they're on their 4th quarterback, I think. The season changes so fast. And that's what's amazing about the NFL is everyone has a shot to go and do well. You just never know what's going to happen.
Ryan in Saratoga, New York wants to know, given the play of Mike White on the weekend, when do we see Zach Wilson again behind center for the New York Jets?
It's going to be a long time. I was talking to my son Gabe last night, and we were saying about, there's Zach Wilson, the number 1 pick. He's had some turmoil. He's dealing with New York media, the Jets. It's a tough place coming from, Utah. And now all of a sudden he said some things that people don't like. Now he's not playing. And all of a sudden the kid that comes in and replaces him, is played pretty well. And those fans are going to grab onto him because they know they have a good defense. They know they have a pretty good team and they really love their coach. So if they get a kid in who cannot turn over the ball, get the ball to the playmakers on the team, I don't know if Zach Wilson gets back under center.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I feel like it's a kid that made a mistake, but if the backup's winning, there's no way that he can get in there. And lastly for you, Gus.
I've seen that in my career, Rod.
Well, I was going to ask you, though, this 15 years, What would you attribute that to? Your longevity?
It's just when you get an opportunity, you got to make the most of it. Yeah, I've played a lot of football in the NFL. I was a 7th round pick, had a kid that was first rounder in front of me. And I think it's just something that you go out and it's hard work. You dig into the playbook. If you hear them talk about Trevor Lawrence, he was saying how, the playbook was so important to him this year to understand the plays, where to go with the football. And that was always my mindset. And I was given one ability was to pick up a football and be able to throw it at any time. Coming off the bench, starting a game, it didn't matter. I was able to do that. And just I think the other part for me was just understanding the offenses. I played in several different offenses. It's like learning a new language, and to understand those, to go in and be good to win a game for a coach, whether it's starter or a backup and coming in. I think that was immensely invaluable to me to be able to stay in the league as long as I did.
Lastly, NFLAVpodcast.com. I understand it's going very well. Tell us about that. It's very cool. Tell our viewers, please.
It is very cool. What we did, I was podcasting for a long time, since 2018. I mean, when I started, there were probably 500,000 or 600,000 podcasts. And, as I went through the pandemic and was doing it, I always loved the conversations I had with people. I wasn't very good at going out and marketing and selling myself, and that wasn't what was important to me. And I know a lot of guys were in that same boat. So this past year, NFL Alumni Ventures approached me and said, "Hey, we know you've been podcasting. Do you want to come and help us build this network?" And I said, "Sure, let's do it for the guys." So it's former players building a new network for former players. So we got a Browns show, we got a Bengals show, we got a new Titans show coming up. We got a Packers show with Amon Green, Dorsey Levens, and Gilbert Brown. So we got a bunch of shows on there, and I think by the end of the year we'll probably have 20 shows in our network. And hopefully by the end of 23 and the start of next football season, we'll have a show for every team out there. And it's going to be all former NFL players, so which is great. And the great thing about it is it's raw, unfiltered football. Our guys, we're not telling them what to say, what they can't say. Obviously, if you go on there and look at the Lawrence Taylor clips, somebody asked him, "Lawrence, if you were a defensive end in the game today, what would happen?" And he said, "Well, I would be delivering enemas every week." So that's what our network is about. It's raw and unfiltered, and we love it.
NFLAVpodcast.com. Check it out, everybody. Gus, thanks for the time. Enjoy the hockey, man. Good luck.
All right, Rod. I'm going to stay in my beard and go Penguins.
I like it. All right.
that?
A Pro Bowl quarterback, Gus Frerotte, joining us from the Steel City. Viewer Takeover coming up next in overtime. It is the RP Show on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, your favorite podcast platform, and WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM-certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big, and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
You might not be injured if you slip and fall, or you might hit your head and cause a lifelong injury. Take safer steps with WorksafeSask.ca.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Okay, here we go. One final time. It is overtime, as we like to say, like to call it. It's brought to you by the Four Seasons Sports Palace, your home for the UFC and the National Football League, because it is the biggest league in the world. And let's bring the Moose back in here. I'm fiddling around with the lighting. I know our listeners on radio won't care about that, Darren, but it just gets so bloody bright. You know, they call it the Sunshine State for a reason.
Yeah,
you are as clear as a bell there. You got it all figured out. Am I like one big blob, or is it all right? What do you? What can you see?
It's not as bad as you're making it out to be or think that it is. But we know when you get in the shadows, yeah, it can be a thing. But you know what? That's part of you being in Florida, and I think it's cool when you're in the sun, when you're in the shade. Yeah, it's good. You look good.
Yeah, life is good. It has my dang fence over my shoulder, and it, like I say, it looks like a hillbilly's teeth. I'm embarrassed by it. So I'm trying to change that up a little bit. By the way, we asked our viewers to pick up the phone and text RP, no matter where you're listening. A guy in Medicine Hat writes in, Jer, Big Jer is his name.
Okay.
In Medicine Hat, Calgary Corral, Dennis and Bobby Hull. Was it the Centennial Hockey League? I don't know, Jerry. I wasn't there. You tell me. He's like, I'm glad that he picked up the phone and texted me, but I don't know what league it was before I was born, dude. But it is fun to, get people to check the memory banks and, with that kind of thing and the audience participation. They're making fun of Gus's beard. Some people are. Well, no. Wayne in BC says Gus's beard reminded me of Matt Dunnigan's beard. LOL. Both look very sharp. Allie in Texas says, it was a nice-looking beard. I thought it was, too, but if I grew a beard, man, because Gus and I are about the same age, you would be as white as that, and I just don't think I could handle doing that. When are you going to grow yours back? Any plans?
It's summertime. Usually, I always grew it back in the traditional. I know, right? But I grew it in the summer because I was, calling hockey and football games, doing television stuff. Now we do this show all year round that I don't know if it matters when I have it, when I don't have it.
How's your mom feel about your beard?
I think she warmed up to the idea. over the last little while. She warmed up to it. So you know what? Maybe at Christmas time, I bring it back.
Well, your dad has a beard down to his belly button, so clearly your mom likes it. So
it's not quite. It's about here, and I've never in my life seen my dad without the beard. In my entire life.
That's cool.
35 years, going to be 36 years.
Let's hold him down sometime. Shave it off.
Oh, poor guy. Yeah, I've always thought about that, but I'm like, I'd have to do it in the sleep, and I would get half a razor across, and he would grab me by the throat, and he'd like from his sleep, and I would be done. So I never wanted to do it.
Ryan in New York says Gus's beard is glorious. Al Broderick says, another great show, Rod. Hit the like button. Thank you, Al. Al Lee in Texarkana threw me for a loop. She writes in and says, you should totally grow a beard, Rod. That's not going to happen, so don't hold your breath. I don't want to dash your hopes. It's never going to happen. When I was playing senior hockey back in Sask, back in the day, we all were going to grow beards, and mine grew in red. I was like 18, maybe 19. I'm like, nope.
What about
that was the end of that?
What about when you're older, like Letterman style? You know, when it's white and not red? Because Letterman looks very regal with the beard now. And he wouldn't have looked it back in the day, but now with the beard, it kind of looks cool.
Yeah, I don't like it on him. Kevin the Medium says, I'm going to listen to the repeat. What, you're going to listen to the show again for a second time? I advocate that. Good for you. And from WQEE says, enjoyed the show again today. Thank you, Ryan O'Radio. Don't be afraid to hit us up with any messages, any requests that you may have, Ryan O'Radio. We aim to please. Last minute of play in the RP show. Last minute. Raptors Cavs last night. Moose, you got 30 seconds. How was it? What's your report?
It was awesome, and your boy Gary Trent Jr. had a great game. One thing I'll tell you: the Raptors are ready to make a push. They're healthy between Freddie and Spicy P and Gary Trent Jr. and Anunoby. They really spread around the scoring last night, so that's going to be really key.
Sounds good. Oh, Kevin said he was giving a reading. He was giving a reading to Serena. I can't wait to hear how that went. Moose, you go have fun. A great Toronto day. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Say hey to the Dunkster, and we'll catch you back here tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
It was a busy one. Thanks to Ryan Leslie, Matthew Barnaby, Gus Frerotte, and tonight, Flames Panthers should be a doozy. We'll be talking about it here tomorrow. Game Plus and WQ.
Who has more fun than us?
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. I like it. Right on. Let's go.